I sing with the swell singers in Shepherd's Well, and we're very bad, but we love it. Actually, we're not that bad. We've done things like Fouray's Requiem, and I sing tenor. So I sing with the blokes, and I think it's so funny. It's just brilliant.
Power to Live More with Joe Dodds.
Welcome to the Power to Live More podcast, all about productivity, organisation, well-being, energy and resilience. I'm Jo Dodds, and I started this show to enable interesting people to share their stories about how they use their power to live more, and by that I mean to do the stuff that they want to do more than the stuff that they need to or should do. It's about creating a life for yourself where you have the energy, health and space to be happy and fulfilled, spending your time as you'd like, whether that be at work, home or somewhere else entirely. That's your choice.
Hello, my name is Ellie Dodds and I'm co-presenter. And today Joe is interviewing Jill Tipping, Director of Pavelka Limited. Joe has known Jill for many years, first meeting at a networking event that Jill was running locally on the Romney Marsh. They immediately hit it off, although how they both managed to get a word in edgeways with each other is still a mystery. They've worked together on and off through their various involving business ventures, have roped in their husbands for the occasional dinner, and have even spent a very enjoyable New Year's Eve eating, laughing and singing at our house. Since 2005, Jill has been MD of Xposure Limited, where they help individuals and companies identify their markets and then develop and implement innovative ways of engagement and opening up of those opportunities. She is also the director of the charity Hoop UK, which stands for Helping Overcome Obesity Problems. Through Hoop, she met and teamed up with Jesse Pavelka, a US fitness expert and TV host for Sky, and they launched Pavelka Limited, bringing weight loss and fitness resource to the UK. Back to the studio.
I'm really excited to introduce to you today Jill Tipping of the Pavelka Health Revolution. Hi Jill, thanks for joining me.
Hi Joe, thank you for asking me to come on. Good to talk to you.
It's very exciting. We've known each other a long time, so lovely to be interviewing you. So start by telling me about you, not that I need to know, but the listeners do. Tell us about you, what you do and where you do it.
Okay, well I have several hats, but they're all based around the same kind of theme. So I have a business with a US fitness expert called Jesse Pavelka, and between us we have a business called the Pavelka Health Revolution. Jesse does television on Sky and on ITV, and he brings health. It's not just solely about weight loss, although he is a specialist in extreme weight loss on his shows, but actually it's more about bringing health. So I work with him on that. We have we do our business in a variety of ways. He obviously is based in the US, but he comes over here quite a lot. And we do seminars and we do workshops, we do boot camps, and we also have something called the Pavelka House online, which is a community, and it's all about interaction and inspiration and involvement, and where people can go and there's always someone there. They can always chat. So it's a community of health, if you like. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I'm also the chief exec of an obesity charity called Hoop, which stands for Helping Overcome Obesity Problems, and I've been doing that for about 3 years now, and actually that's how I met Jesse in 2012. So we between us and with all the guys and girls at Hoop, we're trying to make a difference.
That sounds really, really good. So as far as where you're doing stuff, you're spending quite a lot of time travelling by the sound of it, but you also work from home the rest of the time. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I do a lot of my work from home. I do have an office that I go into because I have members of staff that support me, but I do a lot of it from home, and I use technology all the time. I don't know where I'd be without technology, quite honestly, because I'm on the road a lot as well. I travel mainly in the UK and Ireland with Jessie, We do tours, and I think we've probably done, I'm guessing here, Joe, I think we've probably done about maybe between 12 and 15 tours now, where we go and we do things like the workshops, the boot camps. But I'm also his manager. So I manage his contracts in the UK, so his television and his appearances, personal appearances and product endorsements and things like that. So we kind of mix the two up. So it's very, very exciting. It's exhausting, but I love it. It's great. He's a great guy to work with. It's a challenge because he's based in LA, so he's always 8 hours behind, and he's not very good at getting up in the morning. So most of my work is done in the evening. A lot of it with him on the phone, and we use FaceTime audio. That's the easiest thing because he can actually get that wherever he is out there. 3G, 4G is really good. So we use that to communicate. So that's quite a challenge because my days sometimes start at 6 in the morning and go right through till 10, 11 at night. But it's worth it. Definitely. So I travel a lot. I do occasionally go over. I'm just book flights to fly over to LA actually and go and spend some time with him over there. We do photo shoots for his calendar and a little bits and pieces of work, and our sort of business planning is done over there as well. So
all sounds so glamorous, but yeah, it does sound like a bit of a nightmare with the time difference.
Yeah, it is. It's not so much glamorous. It's just really fascinating and varied and interesting, and I would not change it. I love it. I like the daily challenges and something different happening every day. So that's what I really, really like about it. And we meet so many people, and he's such an inspiration to so many people. And I love the fact that I am the kind of means by which his message can be heard in this country. So I make sure that his message gets out to the people that need to hear it, which is a great privilege, I have to say. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. So on that basis, do you do certain things when you're at home in the morning to sort of get set up and ready to go, or is it because you do so much travelling, things vary? Do you have a routine of any description?
Well, yeah, I suppose I do, but there's kind of two ways to my routine because I have a personal trainer and I work out early in the morning, but not every morning. So if I'm working out, I start at 7, so I'm up at 6, that normally at the latest, and then I'll literally sort of come to and have a cup of tea, sort myself out, and then I always look at my emails. I don't think I should, but I do. And then I'm out the door to go to training, and that's 2 times, sometimes 3 a week. Or I might go for a walk, earphones in, power walking. I really enjoy that. If I don't exercise first thing in the morning, then John and I, it's my husband John, we'll just sit and chat. I can't have telly on. Can't do that. That's just too much. But we do sort of flick through Facebook and we talk about stuff, and it's our time together, which is a lovely time before the day kind of starts. And then I'll just, if I'm training, I come in, I shower, and I have a really good breakfast or a smoothie. And then if I'm just at home, I'll just, tidy up, make myself ready for the day, and get into the office quite late. Luckily, I have people here that open it up. I'm not very good at getting anywhere on time, in all honesty.
It always sounds impressive when you go in and say, really I've been exercising this morning. I mean, that's a good excuse, isn't it?
I do. I love it. I love that. I love that feeling. And I do my workouts with Chris Hillary. He's my personal trainer. And he lives in my village, but we actually do, he's got a fitness studio in Elsham. And that's where I go, and we do all sorts of things there. So a bit of cardio, but mainly sort of weight resistance stuff. So I like lifting weights. I love it. And he's got these ropes, and you flick them, and I'm a maniac with them. I don't really like that very much, but it really does get your heart racing. It's all good stuff. It all makes you feel good for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
I think that's quite key.
And
I don't get ill. I never get ill, so I don't know.
Must be doing some good. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I normally ask my interviewees about an evening routine, and already you've said that quite often you're working really late because of the time difference with Jessie. Yeah. So do you have sort of particular routines that enable you to sort of wind down very quickly? Because presumably you finish, working quite late, and then, are you still wide awake for the next however long, or do you have certain...
I'm really bad at this. If anybody came to me advice on this, then they'd get bad advice, because I really am bad at this because I'm so switched on to what I do, because I love what I do. I live my work, because it is all over the place, and it is very much on social media, and it is, and I went away to Germany recently for 5 days, and I actually put my phone down, and I didn't look at anything, because I run my own social media, but I run Jesse's as well, a lot of it. Well, he does a lot of the postings, but I kind of look at it and, police it. And then I've got people that run the Pavelka. Nikki runs the Pavelka Health Revolution social media for me, and does a brilliant job doing that. And so, there's a lot for me to have a look at, and I would get excited about it. I think, I really want to have a look, see how many people have commented, and I do police it, because some inappropriate stuff does pop up, and I have to delete it. So it's difficult to switch off, and I often speak to Jesse 9, 10 at night, even though I tell him I'm not going to, and then he's going to miss the chance to talk to me. I have to talk to him at times, and I have to sit. He's my client at the end of the day, as well as my business partner. So or my talent. They call it talent when you manage someone, which is a bit of an unfortunate phrase, but that's what it is, or word. But I have to do it. So there are times when I go, no, I'm just going to switch off now, but it's hard. So how I switch off when I do is chamomile tea and reading my book. Yeah, reading a book. But I read that on my phone, so I'm not sure if that's too good. You taught me how to do that, Joe. It's your fault. But, so I read, and I don't struggle too much with sleeping, really and truly.
Not with all that exercise.
I don't need a massive amount. Well, that's the thing. I don't need a massive amount of sleep, about 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm okay. I can live on that.
It sounds like you have a really packed day and a very long day. How do you make sure you get everything done? Do you have a certain way of managing your tasks? Do you use particular tools? How does that all happen to make sure it all happens?
I've used lots of different things over the years, but I've just discovered something which I love, which my bookkeeper, Alan Brown, told me about, which is Wunderlist, spelled Wunder. And it's a free app, and it syncs with all of your devices. So even though I've got iPad and iPhone, it syncs with my Windows stuff, so my laptop and my desktop. So and it's just brilliant, very simple, very easy to use, and you just literally, you can have all your lists in different, so you can sort of run projects from it, but then you've got a main list at the top inbox. You just put all your stuff in there, and you can just move it if you want to, or just have a main list running. But what I like about it is I've always got it with me. Yeah. So I am busy. I am entrepreneurial. I need my cornerstones. So I am all over the place, and I know I am. And I am starting to understand that I need people around me to do a lot of stuff. But ultimately, there's a lot of stuff I've got to keep to hand, and I need to know about, and I need to do phone calls, and the main thing, you make arrangements like this one, and
we won't tell them about that.
But my world is pretty mad. I'm not always away doing stuff, but there's so many different bits to it. So without having something like Wunderlist, I have forgotten things at times. So Jesse's the same. So we are both, I'm a lot more organised than he is, I have to say. But, if I can help organise him, then it helps the whole business. So. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's probably the first thing, the main thing that I now use, which has helped hugely.
And what did that replace? Was that a paper-based system that you used before?
Yeah, I did. I've had a variety of things. So I had like a paper-based one where I'd have my different businesses. So I also helped my husband run his business. And then I'd have all my like home stuff, your general stuff. So I had like a sort of space for each of the different projects or businesses. So I'd have my hoop, and I'd have Pavelka, but I'd have Jessie Pavelka as well, because they're like two separate things. Then I'd have general stuff, and my husband's business is UV Shield. So there's 5 things, and I'd just write them in on that day and then just tick them off. And that worked really well for me as well. But I didn't always have that with me. That was on my desk. So if I was, out shopping or something or whatever, and I couldn't put alerts on it, I don't want to put, I've got so much stuff in my calendar anyway, I didn't want to put alerts all over my calendar. So this Wunderlist thing does alerts as well. So you on your phone and go, oi, you've got to make a phone call. So it's good.
Yeah.
Good. Recommend it. But yeah, I did do paper-based before. Yeah. And I've used Trello. Trello's very good, but I think I work with Trello with some members of my team. And of course we can share stuff in there and, you know, but again, you've got to remember to go in and have a look.
Yes, yeah. And Trello's the one with boards, isn't it? So you create your project and you can move things from, you know, they're ready to do to be in progress to be, you know, for sign off or whatever, and then archive at the end. So that works quite well for like visual stuff, doesn't it?
It does. I tell you, it worked really well for us when we set the Pavelka website up, because it's a massive site, because it's got a membership part to it, which is the Pavelka House. So we've got the front part, and we've changed it once, or at least once, maybe even more, and done lots to it. So when we first set it up, it was so big, it's got so many functions in it, that the web designers used Trello, and I used it as well, and Jo, who's my assistant, she used it as well. And, you know, we were all able to sort of see where we were at any one time, and, you know, you didn't have emails with the whole world copied in. I hate that. It's insane. So, yeah, because you never know, do you? You're going to write and say something you shouldn't to somebody, and then you just say it to everybody, and oops. When you've got a head like mine, that does happen sometimes. So, yeah, Trello's good. But I think Wunderlist is coming top of my chart right now.
Yeah, good. Any other tools or apps that you use, or systems and processes?
What do I use? Yeah, well, I use a simple one I use is FaceTime.
Yes.
So I know not everyone's on Apple, but I use FaceTime, and I use the FaceTime audio, and obviously dealing with international people, that's really important, else our phone bills would be huge. I'm just having a look on my iPad as we speak. I use Dropbox, so wherever I am, I've got my. I don't know how. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend Dropbox, because I have heard people say, "Oh, I'm not sure how secure that is," but for me, it suits. At the moment, we're using it, and it suits us. I use Google Drive a lot as well with some people, because we're often trying to transfer big documents. So when you're using things like, especially for Jesse he does video footage over in the LA, and then I need to upload it somewhere. So how he does that is quite difficult, because if you do a long video, you can't email them off the iPhone because they're too big.
Yes.
So he uploads it to YouTube. We have onto his account at YouTube on private, and I download it. So that's a really quite a handy way of transferring big documents. We do use Mail Big File as well, but I found the YouTube one for videos works really, really well.
Yes, yeah.
And I use Tesco's app, because I never go shopping. I do that in the morning. I do Tesco's shopping first thing in the morning. I'm just looking at my apps here. All my banking's online. It's brilliant. I couldn't do without that.
Yeah.
I use Notes on the iPad a lot as well. And what else do I use? I've got obviously all the social media, and yeah.
Brilliant.
So it's cool.
Yeah, some good recommendations there. Thank you. So we've slightly asked this question in a roundabout sort of way, but I don't think we've got to it quite yet. What do you do to relax? You talked about reading, which I love too. That's one of my things. Anything else? I suppose exercise is probably one of the things for you.
Yeah.
There's one more I can think of.
Because relax. Yeah, relax.
Sing, don't you?
I sing. Yeah, I sing. I sing with the swell singers in Shepherd's Well. And we're very bad, but we love it. Actually, we're not that bad. We've done things like Fouray's Requiem, and I sing tenor. So I sing with the blokes, and I think it's so funny. It's just brilliant. Oh, sorry. That's all right. Joe's got that. So, that's my Joe, not you. What else do I do to relax? I'm really bad at it. I keep talking about Germany. When I went to Bavaria last week, John kept saying, "I can't believe how relaxed my wife is." But I had to make a conscious effort to go, no work. And although I had my phone on me, I couldn't go that far. I didn't respond to anything. So I was on holiday. Go away. And I did relax. And I slept. I slept and slept and slept. And in fact, we were in this house, and it was right next to this church, and the bells bonged every 15 minutes, and I didn't hear any of them. I was exhausted. And I think that's the thing. When you run at a high level as a business person, you don't realise when you're getting worn out, and then you crash. And I think that's what you have to be careful of, and that's something that I'm learning, that, you know, you can't do it. It doesn't matter how focused you are. Eventually you have to cut off and have some downtime, and then you can start again. But if you don't have that downtime, you just burn out, and then you're no good to anybody then, are you? So it is hard to switch off, and especially because I'm a control freak when it comes to anything to do with Jessie really, and our business, because I don't, you know, I want to know what's going on all the time. And, you know, it's my business, and I would. But I have to, in the end, go, no, there are other people who can deal with it. Shut off. Leave it. So relaxing, yeah. I swim in the sea, and I'm training to do the channel in 2017, swim the channel. But I've had a neck injury for the last 4 or 5 weeks, so it's really put me out. But that's okay, because I should be pool swimming over the winter and back in the sea next summer. So I love that. I love swimming in Dover Harbour at 7 in the morning, when it's a lovely sunny day and it's calm and there's nobody else around. That is lovely. That makes me joyous.
See, I've always said you were mad.
Yeah, I am mad.
I can't think of anything worse.
Listen, you're a long time dead, all right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose those are the things I do. I love being with my family. I've got 3 amazing grown-up children who are as mad as I am, but they're all so different. And when we get the whole lot together, I just sit back and I watch and I listen, and it's like, and I don't bother watching telly. One thing I don't do is watch telly, ever, hardly. Can't remember the last time I watched telly. I watch stuff on my iPad if there's something. I love Banshee. Oh, and I love Sons of Anarchy. Oh, so violent. It's just not like me, but I just love it. So I'll watch those, but I don't watch anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not time for that. It's boring.
So tell us more, and this feels like I'm going to be opening Pandora's box, but tell us more about keeping healthy. What you do about being healthy.
Keeping healthy. Let me tell you about health. Okay. So our philosophy, Jesse, and when I met Jesse, I knew what he did because I saw his shows, and I said to him, there's an element missing from what you do, and the element, it comes with Hoop, which is community, because Hoop has 9,000 people on Facebook that support one another. So we work on 4 elements of health, of which family is one, and which is quite an unusual one. But of course we have movement, we have food, we have mind power, and we have the family. So those 4 elements need to be present in more or less equal for you to have optimum health. That's what we believe. And it's not about it's not about count. We try to say to people, don't focus on the numbers, because people it's like having Jesse always says, it's like having a second job when you're counting calories every day. So what we say is, look at what you're eating, keep sort of the sugars low. We work with a low GL kind of diet, and there's lots of recipes on our website, which in the house, which are based around low GL, glycemic load. So that's where the carbs, don't turn to lots and lots of sugar. So it's all about kind of being sensible and making good choices, but not getting too screwed up about it. But if you move more and you eat the right foods, and you mix with the right type of people, and you keep your mind in the right place, you're pretty much going to be as healthy as you can be. And weight loss is a byproduct, to be honest. Because we believe that diets, as they are out there, don't necessarily work. Yes, you lose weight. You tend to put it back on again. If you can develop a lifestyle, which means you're okay, you're on an even keel. All right, you might not be a size 12, you might be a size 14, you might be a size 16, not a size 14, whatever. But if you're healthy and you feel good about yourself and you feel good about the day and you feel energized, that's fantastic. And if you can keep there, then you're going to keep yourself healthy, you're going to avoid illnesses and all the other things, that can knock you back. But the extremes tend to be temporary. and it's a very difficult thing that Jessie and I are trying to get across, because it's actually about a holistic sort of approach to being healthy, and it's not about, I've been good today, or what do you mean you've been good? I hate that. But, or I've been bad. What have you done? What have you done? You robbed a bank? I ate a chocolate eclair. Oh, Lord. Good heavens. But that can throw somebody way off. And because they've eaten a chocolate eclair for, one thing, they go, oh, that's it, and, that sends them on a downward spiral, and then they turn to other things. So, what we say is, okay, that's a mistake. It's not a one eclair, but if you do it every single day, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So what we always say is live very much, and this is a really good thing generally, is to live very much in the moment. So, and I believe in that, and this is the sort of stuff I bring. I bring the mind power side to what Jessie and I do on our workshops, and I do a 4-hour session in the afternoon we have workshops with 10 people. Sorry, I do this all the time. You know me, Joe. I just go off all over the place. But we have workshops with 10 people. They're very intimate. They're very kind of, it's just Jessie and I for the day. And Jessie takes the morning, and I'm kind of supporting him. Then in the afternoon, he disappears for a while, and I take people on the mind power side. Then he comes back in on that, and we commit to Jessie what they're going to do in the future. And it works really well, and we base everything around these 4 elements. And one of the main things with the mind power is be in the moment, because we spend so much time fretting about what we've done in the past, the chocolate eclair, and we worry ourselves silly about what's going to happen in the future. If we can get into the moment, because the only thing that is real is the moment that you're in. If we can be in that moment, we can be calm, in control, and make good choices. And that's it. If you make good choice after good choice after good choice, then you take the pressure away. It's not about losing 10 stone or 5 stone or 1 stone. It's actually making the next choice a good one. And when you bring it right down, Jessie brings things into 24-hour period, and I like that. But I bring it down even further to say just that moment. Deal with that moment that you're in, because that's the only thing you have control over. And it keeps you calm, and you can then make a good choice. So, I mean, there's lots of different aspects. There's so many things that I could actually talk about, but I think that one thing I would love to give to everybody: be in the moment, make the good choice. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the past.
Absolutely.
So keeping healthy, I mean, that's mind power stuff. Diet, I eat a good diet. I love eating a good diet. It comes naturally to me now. It's a habit. So I don't really think about it. I did when I first started, and I've really focused on what I was eating, and I weighed things out and everything. But then you get used to it, and as long as you balance out your nutrition, we look at a quarter protein, a quarter carbs, and then half of leafy greens as a meal. We base things on 5 or 6 meals a day, and each meal should have those 3 parts in your proteins, your carbs, and your leafy greens. Well, that balance. But your snacks, you have 3 meals and 3 snacks, or 2 or 3 snacks. And your snacks will be like a few almonds maybe, or there might be an apple with some nut butter on, that kind of thing. So it's, it's not nothing extreme, but you get used to it. And in the end, your shopping doesn't include the stuff that's going to tempt you, because why would you buy it when you're not going to eat it? You shouldn't eat it, and just don't buy it. And it's not in the house, not tempting you, but you have a whole load of other things which you enjoy. So that's, the food side of it. So exercise, sleep is important, and thinking about the things that keep you awake at night. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in sleep. I'm going through the flipping change at the moment, so I'm like hot sweats all night. So I'm not very good at it generally. But sleep's important, but rest is important as well. I mean, I don't know. Do you catnap? I do.
Sometimes. I'm not very good at it. My brain doesn't switch off quickly enough to do that. I get bored by the time I haven't gone to sleep yet.
Oh, really? I do it in the car. I used to have a smart car, and I was hysterical because I was like, into a lay-by, seatbelt on, head down, go. For about 5 minutes, get up and carry on driving.
I'm glad you said lay-by. I had visions of you sleeping and driving. I'm good at that. Yeah,
Hysterical.
when I used to travel around for my job years ago, I used to sleep in. I always used to proudly say I'd probably slept in all the car parks of most of the service stations in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but when we were on tour, I drive all the time, and Jessie sleeps all the time. He's always jet lagged, so I've got a nice big car now. So he puts the seat right back and he sleeps. And so health, it's a balance of everything.
Yeah, no, I really like that philosophy, and I like that, as you say, the 4 sections that you look at, not just about being about food or exercise or whatever, the whole lot. So what about learning and improving yourself? I mean, we've known each other a long time, and I know that you do constantly look at that sort of stuff. So what do you do? How do you do that?
Well, I listen. I think that's quite key. I learn more from the people I work with than anybody else. At the moment, my total focus is on my environment that I'm living in, which is my work environment, really. So I listen to Jessie. I listen to the people who I work with, and I meet a lot of experts now, so I learn a lot from them. And I listen to our clients, and we deal with all sorts of people from all sorts of different walks of life. So it's very, very interesting. I read a lot, but I tend to read for enjoyment and relaxation more than anything. But learning new skills. I'm learning a lot about the human body. I'm learning about my own body. I'm learning about exercise. I'm learning about travel and different countries. I've been to Germany. I've been to Ireland now quite a few times working, and I'm just flying out I flew out to San Francisco a little while ago. And all these things, I might be a ripe old age, but I haven't done them before. So I'm learning, the best way of doing things. Learning about technology all the time. That fascinates me. How can we actually become more healthy through technology? I learn a lot by doing. I learn at the coalface. I tend to jump in with both feet and get on with it, and that's how I learn. You might have noticed that. I haven't got any qualifications, so I don't do that kind of learning. I think sometimes maybe I should, but I haven't got time. And I suppose University of Life. But that's how I do things.
Cool. And you talked about books and reading and relaxation. What sort of books do you read? Have you got any recommendations?
I love biographies because I find them really inspiring. But I've read a book which is a bit unusual I can't even remember who recommended it to me now, but it's a book called Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and it's basically about the fact that we have a dark side, all of us, even you, Joe. So we have this dark side, and it's about kind of coming from a place of love when you live and you make decisions and you have relationships with other people and yourself, coming from a place of love rather than a place of ego, which is kind of a bit of the devil in us. So it's a very interesting book. It's so enlightening, and I've recommended it to a few of our clients as well, and they've come back and said it's great. That'd probably be my number one book that I've read recently. But there's lots of books I've read over the years. I mean, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers, I recommend to everybody, especially our clients, because fear is something that is so misunderstood. And people don't realise that actually it's okay to feel frightened. So they see it as a weakness. It's not. It's human nature. And if we didn't have fear, we wouldn't be here as a race. Yeah. Because we would have all been eaten by saber-toothed tigers by now, or something horrendous. So that's a really good quick read. But I love reading business books. So I love reading things like Duncan Bannatyne, Richard Branson. All of those type of businessy type books, entrepreneurial type books, just find them fascinating as well. Yeah. So it just depends what sort of mood I'm in, really. Yeah. Cool. So that's my books.
Yeah. Any films or music?
What else was there?
Anything?
Films.
Yeah.
Films. There's a really good film out now that my daughter recommended to me, and I watched it on Netflix, which was called, I can't remember what it's called, Henry's incredible journey in search of happiness. Henry? It's not Henry.
I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll put it in the show notes.
Could you?
I will.
I'll think of it in a minute. I think it's got a name like Henry, but I don't think it's Henry. But it's really, really good. It's with the guy from Hot Fuzz and the girl from Gone Girl. Hector. That's why I've got Jo in the office with me. She is my brain and my memory, and she makes sure I do everything right. So Hector and the Search for Happiness, and you've got to watch that because it's got these brilliant things in it. And the other film, which is it's just if you want to relax and if you want to feel good, and it's nothing nasty happens in it, and it's no stress in it. Enchanted April, which has been a favourite of mine for well over 20 years now, with Josie Lawrence and Michael Kitchen and Joan Plowright and Miranda Richardson, real classic actors. And it's all about, it's set in just after the First World War, and they all go off and they're in kind of really horrible rainy London, but they all go off and spend a month on this idyllic island. Looks like Tuscany or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So it's gorgeous, but it's just a real feel good. You have to have it on watch it on a rainy afternoon, and you have to drink Earl Grey tea and while you watch it.
I didn't know there were rules.
Fruitcake. The rules.
Yes. Oh no, I've never even heard of that. I will definitely look that one up. That sounds really, really interesting. Have a look at that one. The other thing I really would recommend people have a look at is Mind Fit. You need to Google it, and their model, their power model, is brilliant. It's just based on 3 places of emotion that we go to: helplessness, defensiveness, and powerfulness. Wow.
And it's how you become aware of where you are at any one time, and that because you're aware of it, you can focus on it and move yourself to a place of power. And then you deal with things in such a different way, make good choices. So that's Mind-Fit. I think it's mind-fit.com.
Brilliant.
But you might want to put that in the notes as well.
Yeah.
And that's been created by a good friend of mine, who was a sergeant of mine, an inspector of mine as well, when I was in the police force 100 years ago.
Wow.
So he's even older than me. So
brilliant.
Yeah, and it's superb. So I recommend that as well.
Great.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. So what about if things don't go right? If you're having a bad day, what do you do?
What do I do? Go to a place of powerfulness. And I'm not being sort of creepy when I say that. I have to. Because if you need to be calm to make the right decisions. Things do go wrong. Okay, that's gone wrong. Right, let's think how we deal with this. And you can't do that if you're running around the office or your kitchen or whatever, like a headless chicken. You have to breathe. So the first thing you do is you breathe, take some deep breaths, and then I actually say it to myself, go to powerfulness. And then when you're at powerfulness, if you imagine a triangle, powerfulness is at the top. So you can then look down on the situation and then say, right, how do I put this right? The other thing I always think of is, because sometimes when things go wrong, it can be something somebody has said that's upset you. That's one that, that really is, or an email. You think, and then I always say, and Tony Robbins, this is a Tony Robbins thing, ask yourself, what does he mean by that? Or what does she mean by that? Because sometimes things are said, and it's not you, it's them. And you have to understand when it's coming from their place of defensiveness or helplessness, because then that helps you to understand why they're being in that way, and not take it all on as the victim and how dare they speak to me like that. So that's a really good tip. Hang on, why have they said that? There's a reason why they've said that, or sent that email, or not sent that email, not responded.
Yes.
And I think be brave and stand up. When things don't go right, be brave and say, I'm sorry, I've cocked up.
Yeah.
What can I do to make this right? A sorry is a very powerful word, but don't follow it with a but, because then it doesn't mean you're sorry. You can't say, I am sorry, but, because then you're not sorry. So don't say that. You say, I'm really sorry, I've messed up.
Yeah, that's what I say to little Dodsey's best friend. I have to say to her, if you're starting a sentence with "no offence, but," then you probably don't want to finish the sentence. She's only 10. She's got a lot to learn.
Brilliant. Yeah. Oh,
Those
God.
really good
Yeah,
bits of
so.
advice there, Jill. Thank you so much. So on a day when you end the day knowing that you've had the chance to live more, and by that I mean, do the stuff that you really want to do, not the stuff you feel you have to do or that you should do. What have you done? What's that day look like?
Sealed a massive deal for Jessie. A few of them flying around at the moment. I don't know. When I see our clients, because when we run these workshops, our clients have Facebook pages just for the 10 people, and I'm on most of them. And I can't keep, we've done 17 workshops, I can't keep my eye on all of them, but a few of them I pop into every now and again and have a look, see how they're getting on. And when I go in there and I see that they're proudly throwing their scales in the bin, that's one happened recently, there's a picture of her dropping her scales into the bin, things like that, because we think scales are for fish, because they just put so much pressure on people.
Love that.
And when I see things like that, or I see them working with each other and supporting one another, I just think, wow, this is amazing. These people didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
And we've brought them together, and they are now supporting one another to health. And that is such a fantastic feeling of achievement. And it's just it's done through just people understanding what they need to do.
Yeah.
Giving them the tools, and then they go off and use them. But they have to have accountability as well. It's up to them at the end of the day. There's no magic pill. But to see them actually demonstrating that they've got it, they're understanding it, they're living it. And we have reunions, and 75% of them come back.
Yeah.
So, it's a great turnout. And they travel all over, from sort of Edinburgh and Jersey and Ireland, and they fly in, and then we all get together, and it's fantastic. So it's a proper little family, or a big family. So that's when I think, I feel really good about this. And then when I just look at my gorgeous husband and his lovely blue eyes, and I look at my kids and things like that, and I think, oh God, how blessed am I? So it's not so much what I've done, it's what I've actually had. And I feel very blessed about that. And I think you have to take time out to appreciate and, work through your gratitudes. So
yes, and that be in the moment.
That's my day.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it's been brilliant speaking to you, as I knew it would be. You've got some really good tips and strategies and links and tools and everything for us, for the audience, which will be on the show notes. So thank you so much. How can people find out more about you and connect with you, Jill?
Connect with me? Well, you can go on to pavelka.co.uk. That's our business, but I'm quite invisible on the homepage. I'm in the house a lot, but not on the homepage, because that is about Jessie. But I deal with all of the communications, so Joe does, that comes in from that. So you can always get in touch with me through that. I'm on Twitter. So Jill Tipping, boringly.
Does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, I'd love you to follow me on the Twitter, and always happy to hear from people on that. And just contact me through the website or my email address, which is jill@pavelka.co.uk.
Brilliant.
So
thank you.
It. If anybody wants to know any more, give me a call.
Excellent. Thank you, Jill. Really, really appreciate you joining me.
No problem, Joe. And we must do dinner or lunch. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for having me. Okay.
Joe's Gems.
This is the part of the show where I do a recap of the key points of the interview, the stuff that I really liked, and the apps, books, music, tips and tools that were shared. And this is for you if you heard something that you want to check out, but you couldn't write it down at the time. Hopefully I've got you covered. And this is the bit for the really time-pressed. You can just listen here and get the gems from the interview, but of course I wouldn't suggest you do that and miss out on the great conversation that I had with Jill. So, the tools and apps that we talked about. Jill talked about using FaceTime audio to speak with Jessie in the States. She recommends Wunderlist for managing your tasks and projects. It's a free app that syncs with all your devices. She also recommended Trello for project management, which she said works particularly well with people who like visual stuff. She uses Dropbox to access her files from anywhere, and Google Drive, particularly for sharing large documents. She also uses YouTube when Jessie and her have to move or send a video from the States to the UK. So Jessie uploads a video onto YouTube and sets it as private. and then Jill's in a position to download it, so they get around the issues with trying to email things that are too large on email that way. But they do also use Mail Big File for sending large files through the email. And Jill also recommends using Notes on the iPad for note making, strangely enough. So other resources, Jill is director of obesity charity Hoop, which stands for Helping Overcome Obesity Problems, and Hoop has been established to be the voice of the obese person to break down the stigma attached to obesity, and they're working with partners to affect change at a strategic level in the UK. Jill recommended a couple of books. Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. She says it's basically about the fact that we have a dark side, all of us, even you, Joe. We have this dark side. It's about coming from a place of love when you live and you make decisions and you have relationships with other people and yourself, coming from a place of love rather than the place of ego, which is a kind of a bit of a devil in us. It's a very interesting book. And she also recommended Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. I recommend to everybody, especially our clients, fear is something that's so misunderstood. People don't realise that actually it's okay to feel frightened. They see it as a weakness. It's not. It's human nature. If we didn't have fear, we wouldn't be here as a race. And Jill also recommended books by people like Duncan Bannatyne and Richard Branson. She recommended 2 films. One that we finally worked out is called Hector in the Search for Happiness. She says you've got to watch that. And Enchanted April. She says if you want to feel good, nothing nasty happens in it. It's no stress. You have to have it on a rainy day, and you have to drink Earl Grey tea while you watch it. And then the tips that Jill shared, she says she has a personal trainer and works out early in the morning, although not every morning. She says she does workouts with the trainer, and she does all sorts of things, bits of cardio, mainly weight resistance stuff though, and she likes lifting weights. She says she switches off by drinking chamomile tea and reading a book. And she recommends making good choices with your food, and says that Jessie and the team at Pavelka look at a quarter protein, a quarter carbs and half of leafy greens on your plate when you have a meal. And when I asked about what happens when things don't go well, she said that she goes to a place of powerfulness, which is quite appropriate for the podcast. She said, I'm not being creepy when I say that. I have to. You need to be calm to make the right decisions. Things do go wrong. Okay, that's gone wrong. Right, let's think how we deal with this. And then a couple of websites. She talked about Pavelka House, which is an online community that her and Jessie run. It's all about interaction and inspiration and involvement, and it's now free to join. And also MindFit. She says that their power model is brilliant. It's just based on 3 places of emotion that we go to: helplessness, defensiveness, and powerfulness. And to contact Jill, you can go to pavelka.co.uk. You can connect up with her on Twitter, which is @JillTipping, or you can email her jill@pavelka.co.uk.
Use your power to live more.
All this information is available on the show notes on the website powertolivemore.com/ in this case 7. If you'd like to sign up to get my weekly newsletter with more tips, strategies, ideas and tools to improve your power, you can do that on the website too. Again, the link for this show is powertolivemore.com/7, and we look forward to speaking to you next time.